Get ready, get set, and hold on. You're in for one heck of a ride with the Mouth of Matuszak radio show. Welcome. And I'm your host, Paul-Gregory Matuszak, with you here on this beautiful Tuesday morning, Tuesday, September 23rd, 2014. All kinds of news and information and wacky stories about wacky people doing wacky things coming at you over the next hour with me, your host. Call in, let me know what you want to talk about, or if you want to talk about one of the issues I start discussing. Of course, the biggest one is going to be ISIS, ISIL, Syria, Iraq, etc. So, of course, that's the big topic for today. Of course, we got a couple other things to talk about. But before further ado, just in case you're not caffeinated enough to keep up, let's get some of that blood going, blood pumping, get you going, get you up, and listen to a little bit of this while you refill that coffee and get your morning on a good roll. As you can tell, mine's already been here. I've had kind of an active morning doing show prep and other things. But your day may just be starting, or it may have started a couple hours ago, and you're starting to feel that morning lag on your way into work or as you're arriving. So for those of you listening live over at Live 365, welcome to the show. Those of you listening to the podcast at your leisure, well, hopefully this keeps your day going, or if you're one of those people who works later hours, maybe you're listening to this as your own version of a morning show, in which case, welcome. And without further ado, let's listen to a little bit of Steve Crowder and Chris Lash, otherwise known as Powdered Zombies, with Mr. America.
Mr. America, look what you've done.
Yeah, looking at the country is not what I intended. Gotta start to make a change before the never-ending story of a failed nation runs straight out of luck. Like $1 million Tyler Perry movies, you suck. All you little have lots of still selfish and want more voting in your self-interest now instead of the core principles that made this country both honest and true. Free to speak, worship, pursuit of your happiness too. With all the money you fly, you gon' be needing a big freeze. Hate the size of the Fed like Jesus hated the fig tree. As the spending goes up, you gotta borrow some more. Borrowing from the Chinese like, oh my lord. Instead you just tax more, you're increasing the size of the federal government. Yeah, the joke is surprise. You'll be done like Detroit, man, no you ain't coming back. Forget it, I'm out, I'm muzzle loading.
Mr. America, look what you've done. You trade your liberty and sovereignty for lies and promises. Mr. America, don't you run away. You pick up pieces up and face the problems. You'll be great again. I got tired of rolling over in my grave every day, making a monarchy of my beloved US of A. You little glitches need reminding of what we were before, and the sits that led us up to revolutionary war. High taxes to the throne without a voice of our own. Ruled top down from the crime we wanted left alone. Oh, y'all so soft, you're taking it year after year. We were fighting red coats while we're brewing our beer. Now I'm drinking, spitting ciphers through a grill made of wood. That's how it all went down in G-Dub's neighborhood. Packing cabin balls like powder hammers with cock, lock, click, clack. The loss of backs, the attack, the chicken lips. Who don't know me, listen, don't let it twist. We kick the A's of the B's for much less than this. So don't deny the historical climbing out of the mud. Follow me, believe the screed, plant the seeds and be free. America, look what you've done. You trade your liberty and sovereignty for lies and promises. Mr. America, don't you
run away.
You pick up pieces up and face the problems. You'll be great again.
When it's really a 12, hear me, classes in session, you can't be safe by the bell. What happens when you keep printing more dough? Both parties have gone green like their name was Al Gore. Yeah, but right now you're high. Hey, ain't you big hitter? But now I'm back from the dead. I'm bringing back all my niggas.
What?
knickers? No, it's okay. I can say knickers because I wear knickers.
All right.
Man, you think I say that? What's wrong with you? I'm just talking about my show back then. I rock with my shoe. But let's go back to the first point I was trying to make. The degradation of our freedoms and our country at stake. The government's getting grand while private sector grows smaller. Pour one out for your homies, cause here comes the cold water. Unemployment still rising, our debt's growing still. The only change you're gonna get is being left with the bill. Mr. America, look what you've done. You trade your liberty and sovereignty for lies and promises. Mr. America, don't you run away. You pick up pieces up and face the problems. You'll be great again. Mr. America. Whoa, whoa. Mr. America. Whoa,
Whoa.
whoa,
Whoa. Yeah! Hope your coffee's good. It get you all pumped up? Oh, come on now. Get out there, get it pumping, get it going good. Today's Tuesday, folks. No excuses. Can't sit back and say, I've got a case of the Mondays. First of all, when it comes to a case of the Mondays, I've got the cure for that. Be happy about Monday. Simple, folks. Start of a work week. Think about all the future, all that prosperity, all those greenbacks you're going to earn. They help alleviate some of your problems, not all, but they take care of the financial ones, or at least maybe not take care of them, but can at least make them a little bit lessened. I mean, yeah, if you're one of those people who spends more than they make, maybe not so much, but at least you're making enough to be able to spend down some of your debt, right? So you're not falling as deeper as you could be. Whatever way, case, or shape, or form, that work week's a good thing, something to get excited about. Especially if you like your job, which makes things even better. But if you don't like what you're doing, like your job, at least like the paycheck and the benefits, and what you can do with them when you're not working. I know some people, their favorite thing to do when they're not working is to sleep. Boring. But hey, that's why they have chocolate, vanilla, and rum raisin. Butter pecan. But anyway, shape or form, like I was saying, folks, but there should be no such thing as having a case of a Mondays unless you partied too hard on the weekend and overstepped the bounds. And the only person you have to blame is yourself. That's what recovery is, what Sunday is for. After, if you're Christian, after church. But anyway, folks, I can go on for days and days and days and try motivational speaking. I'm not a paid motivational speaker, at least not yet. I haven't earned a place to be there. The only motivational speaking I tend to do is the type that lights small searing flames underneath somebody's butt to get them moving and doing what they're supposed to be doing, because that comes from 24 years of being in the military, and a good chunk of that time being in some kind of leadership role or other, where I was responsible for making sure other people did their jobs as well as my doing my own. But in fact, my job was making sure other people did their jobs. And sometimes my job was making sure other people did their jobs in making other people do their jobs. Anyway, that's kind of how the military works, folks. Those of you not in the military and who have never served may not understand it, but understand this. If you have somebody who's your supervisor in your job, that means their job is to not only do what is on their plate, but part of their job is making sure that you're doing your job. It's also part of their job to make sure you have what you need to do your job. So if we're one of those self-starting, motivated people who gets all their work done and looks and says, okay, I've got 8 hours worth of work done in 3 hours, I've got 5 hours left on the clock, and I've also I have about an hour's worth of busy work that I can do by myself. What am I going to do for the rest of the day afterwards? Well, you know, the boss's job is to sit back and say, hey, what else can this person do? Or maybe we need to promote this person and give them a raise because they're more productive. Or maybe they're average production and there's other people who are working below their potential. So maybe they're an example to use to get other people going, in which case they turn you into a leader or some shape or form or whatever. Like I said, I could go on for days and talk about my my work ethic philosophy. That's not what the show's about, folks. The show's about all kinds of other things. Like I kind of hinted at before we played the little musical interlude there. We have a lot to talk about last night. We had, well, I don't know if I want to get into this yet. I think I want to start with something a little bit, something we can kind of poke fun and laugh at. Although I don't know if you would say it's necessarily a laughing matter, but for me it should be, or for me to an extent it is. Of course, last Friday we had a guy say, I'd really like to take a tour of the executive residence of the White House. So he hopped the fence and bypassed all the security checkpoints and ran across the lawn and ran up to the entrance and was finally apprehended. And of course, this got Secret Service in a little bit of hot water, and as it should, because he got that far. And of course, they're turning around and making excuses. Well, it's old wrought iron fence and it's never been repaired, and that's not our fault. Yeah, it is. There's other stuff you could have done. You could have put somebody there physically, you know, along the fence line, or put people every so often. So many different things you could do. Guys, I've worked up force protection and anti-terrorism and anti-infiltration and base defense plans within my job in the military in the past. And I know there's things that could have been done. It's what happened is called complacency. It's called a lackadaisical attitude, which has been prevalent within the Secret Service to a great extent throughout this administration. I mean, come on, look down in Colombia. Instead of protecting the president, they were off getting drunk and paying for what they obviously weren't getting at home from their significant others, if they have them. But they were paying for sexual gratification. They were eliciting prostitution. So, anyway, this gentleman got through. So, of course, more stuff has come out since then. Evidently, he had a little run-in with the law in Virginia, and there were some concerns about him, but evidently their concerns weren't great enough to take a step further. Of course, then again, you can only arrest somebody for the laws they've actually broken, and then once you think they have already broken, and then once you think they've already broken a law, then you have to go through the proper due process. That's the way our country works. That's called justice. That's the right way. So you can't punish somebody for something until after they've been sentenced and found guilty. So there's that to consider. But I guess searching his car, they found a hatchet and a machete or something like that. Big whip-de-doo. It was in his car. It wasn't like he was running across the White House lawn with a tomahawk in his hand going, I'm going to scalp me some Injuns! Or whatever an engine is. I guess an engine is something that powers a car, at least, or a train where I come from. But, running across with something that looks like a machete or a hatchet or an axe and, talking about burying it somewhere where it should not be buried. If he's doing that, well, then he was evidently doing something violent. Well, they said he had in his possession a knife. It wasn't like he was running with a thing open and looking like he was attacking people. He just happened to have it in his pocket or what have you. So it was holstered. That's not an immediate threat. Sorry, folks. I don't care what your spin on being armed or not armed is. The reality is, if you have a weapon on your person, but you do not have it currently in a configuration where it can be utilized in a dangerous manner, and you're not handling it in a threatening manner, it's called brandishing. If you're not brandishing, then it's not a current threat or danger. So if it's in your pocket, it is not currently a threat. Now, if it's in your hand and you're going, and it's a flip knife and you're going to open it, or if it's a sheath knife and you're pulling it out of its sheath, well, now you're a threat. It should be treated with accordingly, unless you're defending yourself, in which case whoever is attacking you should be treated with accordingly. But so they looked through there and they found all those things, but they also found about 800 rounds of ammunition. 800 bullets, folks. Wow. Guess what they didn't find? A firearm. So we had 800 rounds of ammunition and nothing to shoot it with. So that leaves one big flippin' question for the mainstream media. Who cares? It was in his car. And he had... A bullet itself is not dangerous unless it's loaded into a firearm that'll fit into and will properly initiate the firing, the cycle of fire, and launch that bullet at a target. Otherwise, it just kind of sits there and does nothing. Kind of like, he owns a gun. It's locked up in his gun safe at home. Ooh, it's really in a dangerous configuration. Is it even loaded? No, in fact, it's disassembled. Oh, wow. So it's a bunch of inanimate objects locked in a safe. It's not exactly a dangerous threat, but he did not have a firearm on him. Now it's come out that he was a disabled veteran from Texas. So of course, because he's from Texas, he's automatically must be a threat, right? Because Texas is such a threat to the nation, considering we've been leading the nation in economic growth. We're somehow a threat because we've been holding the nation up for the past 6 years, keeping it from sinking under, doing the majority of the job creation that's been going on since Obama took office has come out of Texas, but somehow we're a threat to the nation. Without Texas, there'd be negative jobs created. Just think about that, folks. So, because he's from Texas, he must somehow be a threat. Because he's a disabled vet, he must somehow be automatically a threat. I mean, it's not like he put his life on the line defending the U.S. Constitution and this great nation or anything. It's not like he's already proven his patriotism or anything. No, he just must be a threat. Unlike the academic, never seen the real world weenies who want to sit there and try to tell everybody how to live their lives while they're smoking pot on their campus grounds and preaching peace, but beat the snot out of those mo-frappies who want the Second Amendment to remain uninfringed and unviolated. Those people who sit there and tell you that you need to be green, you need to watch for global warming, which has not scientifically been proven, by the way. In fact, over the last few years has demonstrated quite the opposite, that they're full of it. But they went and had that big rally on Sunday, and what are these pro-green, pro-recycling, be good to the earth people do? But they littered the heck out of the place. And then, of course, you had your big-time celebrities who went to the rally, and how did they get there? With their private jets burning all kinds of fossil fuels. But they're going to tell us that we need to watch our fuel consumption going to work, and we should ride bicycles instead of driving our cars. Hypocrites! They're full of it, folks. They have an agenda, and that agenda has nothing to do with the climate or saving the earth. It's all about enslaving you and making you believe lies so that you will do what they say when they start passing a bunch of ridiculous regulations in order to govern your life and take away your freedom of choice and your liberties, your life and your liberty and your pursuit of happiness. That's what it's all about, is they're trying to take those away from you, folks. And that includes your right to protect yourself and own and carry a weapon, a firearm, or whatever. Now, should this jackass have been bounding across the White House lawn with a knife in his pocket? Probably not a good idea. But what is his disability? Well, I was looking over on Drudge, and it's like one of the current things flashing up there. Evidently, one of his biggest sources of being a disabled veteran is an injury to his foot. Let that sink in, folks. He has an injured foot, probably a combat. I haven't seen his whatever's been released about his public medical records.